How's it going, everyone? It is I, Anime Outlet, and this is part 2 of What If Naruto Had the Rinnegan. So now, before we begin, I would just like to ask you all to please consider subscribing, so it really does help this channel out. And also, please put your what if suggestions down in the comments section below. It can be My Hero Academia, Naruto. I might even start doing Black Clover what if soon. It all just depends on what ends up happening, as I'm looking to diversify my channel away from only being My Hero Academia, so I really find it enjoyable to make other what ifs on other types of anime. So now, let's begin with this part of What If Naruto Had the Rinnegan. As Kakashi, Naruto, and Sakura all went onto the bridge, a mist would roll in, as all of them would look shocked before a massive circle of Zabuza water clones would all surround them. However, Kakashi would easily jump in, taking down all of these water clones, as Haku and Zabuza would then appear, revealing themselves. As they would reveal themselves, Kakashi would just nod his head. Naruto, looks like Haku didn't really kill Zabuza, or that ninja didn't kill Zabuza. As Naruto would only just nod his head. So all of a sudden, Kakashi would rush towards Zabuza, as Haku would then take on Naruto. So Naruto would push Sakura and Tazuna out of the way. With Sakura and Tazuna now being protected, Naruto would face off against Haku, who would then use her Genkai to just completely surround Naruto in just an entire half dome of, or just in a dome of, like, ice mirrors. So Naruto would see these attacks would be just flying in from all different angles, as Naruto would look around with such fast head movements, dodging all of them. As this Rinnegan would staring around looking for where Haku could be, as he wasn't sure how he was going to get out of this. Be thinking for a moment, or using just fireball jutsu he had seen Sasuke use a couple of times. He would use it, however, it wouldn't really do anything. So Naruto, looking around again, kind of just confused, as he didn't have an opportunity to just run up and kill Haku, as Haku took that opportunity himself. So as Naruto would stand within just the ice mirror prison, all of a sudden Sasuke would come out of nowhere with a kunai, slashing through one of the mirrors. As Haku would end up dropping to the ground as the mirrors would disappear. Naruto would take this opportunity, rushing in, punching Haku right across the face. As Haku would be sent flying backwards, she would back, capturing both Sasuke and Naruto into just the ice mirror prison thing once again. So with both of them now trapped, as Naruto would continue dodging, and so would Sasuke. However, each time, more and more just little pin-type things would continue landing into Sasuke, as finally his own Genkai would end up his own eyes would end up awakening. As Sasuke's eyes would open, it would reveal the Sharingan, as Sasuke would instantly see all of Haku's attacks coming at him, easily allowing him to dodge it. However, finally, a pin would strike him right in the neck, causing him to fall to the ground, as Naruto, staring on, would just be in complete shock, allowing for the Nine-Tails Demon Fox's energy to just be released. As this chakra would release into Naruto, so much energy and chakra would be going flaring out of him, causing both Zabuza and Kakashi to see this. Kakashi would instantly stop his fight with Zabuza, as both of them would look towards it. This chakra, it's way too powerful to be anyone else's besides Naruto's. With that Rinnegan of his, there's no telling what he could do. Kakashi would instantly jump off, rushing right towards Naruto to hopefully take him out. For they were still in just this ice prison thing, as Zabuza would end up kicking Kakashi away. So Kakashi would end up sliding for almost falling off of the bridge. Jumping back up, he would towards Zabuza, yelling that if he cares anything about his his friend Haku, then he'd let him through, let him into the ice prison. However, Zabuza would only shake his head. I'm not falling for a trick that easily, Kakashi. And knowing that, although Naruto's chakra was so high, it would allow for more of a distraction and would cause Kakashi to be on the edge, possibly allowing for him to kill him easier. So as doing this, Naruto would rush right towards Haku, punching him right in the head, going so quickly Haku couldn't even see it, punching him right through the glass mirrors, causing for them to dissipate, as he would continue rushing towards Haku, punching him more and more, as finally Haku would lie flat on his back before getting up, as Naruto would walk up towards Haku, who looked like they were dead. They weren't going to last long anyway, as blood poured out of just gashes on their face and shoulders. Haku would look towards Naruto as if asking him to end his suffering. Naruto would walk towards him and without even a second thought would kill Haku within an instant, as he saw it as sort of just a revenge and not allowing for Haku to continue on their fight. As if Haku were to live, he possibly could still have more energy and could possibly even go back and finish off Sasuke if he wasn't dead. Which, although Naruto felt like Sasuke had died, deep down he knew he wasn't dead just yet. Sasuke wouldn't go down that easily. As Naruto would, looking back, Kakashi and Zabuza would both be in a heated fight. So Naruto would throw a kunai right at Zabuza's back, as Zabuza would dodge it, looking towards Naruto, throwing his sword towards him. However, Naruto would only dodge it easily, jumping over it, as the sword would end up going back sort of like a boomerang about to slash through Naruto, as it would cleanly slash through Naruto's stomach, chopping him in half. However, this Naruto thing would poof into dust, as Naruto would end up appearing right in front of Zabuza, punching him right in the face, sending him flying over the edge of the bridge, right into the water. Right as this would happen, Zabuza's body would be hit by an incoming boat by Gato, as he would jump on along with all of his lackeys onto the bridge, just glad that Zabuza was down, and now all they had to do was face off against the weakened Team 7 from Konoha. As all of them would jump up on board, Kakashi would stare on. However, before even any of them would land a hit on any of Gato's men, all of a sudden all of the townspeople and villagers would appear with Inari in front of them, leading the way. So Inari would stand tall, saying that they're not going to let Gato live like this anymore. They're not living under Gato's hand. As they would all charge forward, rushing in. However, Kakashi would throw out his hand, signifying for all of them to stop. "Stop this," he would say in a monotone voice. "Do you all wish to die? These people have clearly more experience than you. Let us take care of this." As Sasuke would wobbly stand up on his feet, holding his head, as his Sharingan would end up awakening again, as all of them would rush on towards the villagers, taking them all out, as Izuku would make it towards Gato with the kunai in his hand and slashing Gato's neck before kicking him right off the end of the bridge. As Naruto would look towards Gato, shaking his head. "It's a shame. I really thought you'd actually be decent, along with all your men. I suppose not. That's too bad." We cut forward to now see all three of Team 7 standing out in the middle of Konoha, as Kakashi would end up appearing in front of them, holding a paper in his hand, waving it around, saying that all three of them are now signed up for the Chunin exams. Naruto would smirk and so would Sasuke, as Sakura would end up just yelling, "You what? How could you sign us up for the Chunin exams? That's usually meant for second and third years." Well, I deemed with Naruto and Sasuke on this team that it'd actually be quite a good fit, you know, as the two of them are quite strong. Plus, Sakura, you should give yourself more credit. You're also quite a strong ninja as well. Kakashi would say this as end up just shaking her head, as all three of them would be walking to the first exam, they would end up bumping into three or ninja that were from the village hidden in the sand. These, of course, would be Gaara's team, as they would all and there, Naruto would continue walking past them, not wanting to make any enemies before the Chunin exam. As we now end up seeing Naruto and the rest of his team all just sitting in the middle of a classroom, as this classroom would end up having papers passed out, where it was designed so if they were caught cheating for these insanely hard questions, they were going to have their team get out, and if they forfeited, they'd get out as well. However, if you got out by getting caught cheating, then you could never take the Chunin exams again. So with this knowledge, the paper would be handed out as Naruto would look through it. So he would end up smirking, grabbing his pencil, and easily flying through the test and flipping it over. So no one else could see it. He had finished it in less than 3 minutes, and the test that was designed to be insanely hard, Naruto easily just flew by it. As all the test proctors would all stare on, just quite in shock by this. How could Naruto, someone that they really didn't expect much from, turn out to just fly through it better than even an Uchiha that was Sasuke? Sasuke would activate his Sharingan, watching the movements of someone else flying through it, which happened to be Naruto sitting in front of him. He would fly through it as well, flipping it over, as Sakura, also being quite just as smart as Naruto, would end up finishing it as well. With all of Team 7 now past the first exam, they would all go on to the second one, the Forest of Death, where Anko would meet all of the people that had passed before letting them all in, where they would be tasked with just getting one white scroll and then one black scroll, and to make it to the middle, which would allow them to pass. So with his Naruto and Team 7 would all rush around looking for anyone that had a black scroll, as they happened to have a white one. So as be looking around, all of the sudden they would bump into Orochimaru, as Orochimaru would end up staring on towards Sasuke, wanting to take him as his pupil so he could take his body eventually. As he would seeing this, all of a sudden Naruto would come flying out of nowhere, punching Orochimaru, sending him flying backwards before Orochimaru could even try to place a curse mark on Sasuke. As this would be, Orochimaru would end up noticing something quite striking on Naruto, his eyes, something that even he had been eluded by, something that he had wished to find and examine and test for many, many years, and now was basically standing right in front of him. As he would end up seeing this Naruto Uzumaki, someone with 2 Rinnegan eyes at a Genin level, would stand in front of him, cracking his knuckles. Well, that's quite interesting. I didn't expect for someone of your magnitude to have something so powerful. Well, nonetheless, you're still quite young, so this should be easy, Orochimaru would say, doing hand signs before arguing out a scroll, slamming it down onto the ground, summoning a massive snake. As the snake would end up appearing, rushing towards Sasuke, as Naruto would rush towards it, punching it back, using a kunai to slash into its scales, pulling its scales apart. However, the snake wouldn't be just taken down that easily, punching Naruto backwards, flicking its tail, sending him flying backwards into a massive tree. As Sasuke would there stricken in fear, never have seen something just so tall and massive. As Naruto would be backwards, Orochimaru would make a race right towards Sasuke, would block it with a kunai. Sasuke's Sharingan enabled. He would stare on, watching all of Orochimaru's movements, dodging as Orochimaru would continue going towards him, trying to place a curse mark right onto him. As he continued dodging, Naruto would come back with the 9-tailed demon fox's chakra, how just activated, rushing towards Orochimaru, just flailing his arms, attacking him with his mighty claws. However, he would dodge this with ease, as if Naruto's attacks were nothing, as he would end up punching Naruto backwards, grabbing him by the neck, about just to disrupt the flow of chakra, or the demon fox's chakra with a seal. However, Naruto would dodge this using the his power to kick himself backwards. However, he would slam his head into a tree, falling down to the ground unconscious. This would allow for Orochimaru to jump in, placing a curse seal right onto Sasuke's neck. As Sakura would grabbing onto Sasuke, as he would fall down to his knees in pain. So Orochimaru would end up disappearing. All of a sudden, Team Dosu would end up appearing out of nowhere, seeing that both Naruto and Sasuke were both injured, and they had a good chance of passing the exam onto the third one. All they had to do was steal Team 7's scroll. As be staring on towards them, Sakura would yell for them to stay back, trying to protect both Sasuke and Naruto. As a member of Team Dosu would rush on towards Sasuke or Sakura, she was the only one left. They would go to take her out. However, Sasuke's curse seal would then activate, jumping in front of her, blocking the attack with ease, smacking the kunai out of her hand. As his curse mark enabled, he would rush towards one of the Team Dosu, stabbing them right in the chest, taking out the kunai before slashing across their stomach area. As they would end up falling to the ground onto their knees, holding their stomach in pain, Sasuke would end up rushing forward, kicking someone in the upper jaw before grabbing both their back hands and dislocating their shoulders. As Sakura would rush towards Sasuke, yelling for him to stop all of this, as this wasn't him. This was just murderous intent from him. This just wasn't like him at all. However, Naruto, shakily still there, would grab onto Sakura's leg, shaking his head, yelling for her to stop, as they weren't going to have this. This was their chance for them to get the scroll they needed, and if it took them another team getting killed, then it took that, so long as they passed and became Chunin. So, as this would happen, Sasuke would rush towards the member of Team Dosu, as he would end up punching him across the face, creating hand signs before using Fireball Jutsu, consuming the entirety of their leader within fire, burning him to a crisp. As Naruto would end up shakily standing up before jumping out. Jumping out of nowhere, Naruto would then be consumed by the King of Hell before its jaws would open once again. He would come out perfectly fine, rushing and with a kunai slashing right across his face. So he would use some hand signs before using one of his father's techniques, Sengon. As he would rush right towards them, he would slam it in the leader of Team Dosu's stomach, so he'd be sent flying backwards with a massive hole in it. So he would end up grabbing the scroll they needed, so they would then successfully make it back to the middle of the forest, where they would be the second team to finish, only beaten by Gaara's team. As they all end up passing, Sasuke would collapse as his curse mark would end up dissipating. Kakashi would see this rush over before asking him what happened. However, they would only just say how Sasuke had basically just had been attacked by someone and a curse mark had been placed on him by the snake thing. However, Naruto would end up knowing who this was, as it was one of the 3 legendary ninja Orochimaru, who happened to be one of the students of the 3rd Hokage. So, as this would be said, Kakashi would widen his eyes before yelling for Sakura and Naruto to both just take Sasuke over to one of the other team leaders to take him to a medical ninja with guards. As Orochimaru out there, they didn't want Sasuke to be captured or have anything else placed on him. With Kakashi around for the missing ninja, he end up meeting up with Anko. However, they would both end up splitting up, where Anko would end up just having a run-in with Orochimaru. However, it wouldn't go the way she had hoped, not being able to take him down, as he would easily show that he was still clearly stronger than her. As we end up back to see everyone who had passed as the week was up, so now end up saying that the extra rounds never needed to be done in this what if, as since Team Dosu is all either dead or injured, they would never have to do those extra matches. So with the extra matches done, Rock Lee would still be just as powerful and wouldn't be injured from his fight with Gaara, as that fight would never end up happening. So we cut forward just a day or so, as the Chunin exams gave everyone a 1 month period to train as hard as they can before the final exam would begin. And that is where part 2 of What If Naruto Had the Rinnegan comes to an end. I hope you all did enjoy it, and if you did, please consider subscribing so you can be notified when the other parts of this series do end up coming out. Also, if you feel like it, please leave a comment of any suggestions for where this series should end up going, and any what if suggestions too. So I thank you all for watching once again, and goodbye.